All right, buddy Lindsay, this is for you, bro. I'm making butter. I just got my gallon of raw milk yesterday. Now here are the materials you need. Blender with your cream in there. I made an edit on the Telegram channel. Very important to let this stuff sit on the counter for about 3 to 3.5 hours. Let it warm up to 62 degrees. That is the optimum best temperature to get the most yield of butter from raw milk. Don't know why, but I heard, watched a lady on YouTube and that's where I learned that. You need 2 bowls, stainless steel preferably, and then at least 1 sieve to filter the whey, and in case your butter lump drops in there, it won't go back into the whey. You need a spatula, a fork, and you do want salt, but we don't need this right now. And whoops, and one other thing, we do need some filtered water. And if I can reach up here and dig one out. Okay. I keep filtered water, 2-liter bottles, because they're strong and I save a lot of water. So this is to wash your butter. So, all right, let's get started. Here's the deal. Put your blender on low and then turn it on and let it go for about 3 minutes. So let's go, let's do it. What you'll notice is when you start hearing your blender start chugging, and it'll go, it sounds like an airplane that is losing an engine. It starts whirling around like that. That means your butter is separated and the solids are floating on the top, and they're lugging the machine down. So that kind of gives you a hint that that it's ready. So for the sake of time, I'm going to speed up between now and when it actually starts making that sound, to save you guys time from having to sit here for 3 minutes. So let's let it go. All right, let's take a check it out. It's not really, yep. You can see the butter floating on top. It didn't really make a big difference in noise. Here's what I like to do sometimes is this thing will throw it up. You turn it on. I'm gonna turn the speed up just a little bit. I like to do that just because butter is supposed to be agitated, and I think just to be sure. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take the I'm recording, by the way. My wife said, "Oh, please make sure I'm not in that." Yeah, well, I wasn't going to tell her, but she would have come in and talked. All right, you see this little bit of whey right there? So there's the butter. And I'm going to put that in that bowl. And I'm going to pour the whey off. Oh, great. My water softener has decided to go into regenerate mode, and it's loud as hell. I don't know if you'll hear it or not. So anyway, I'm just scraping off little bits and pieces of butter off the lid. That'd be the only reason you say, oh, maybe I don't want to throw it up to the top. But you can see butter up there. But here's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna take the spatula and I'm just gonna hold the butter back. Notice how it just floats on top, and the whey will pour right off, which it looks like milk, but that technically is whey. And then I'm gonna use my spatula just to hold the butter from, I don't really want it to fall into that sieve, because you'll lose a little bit of it in the screen. But it'll seem like it will never stop draining off, and because it takes a while for it to come out. And turning the container to a different angle will let some of that whey come out. All right, look at all that butter. So what I'm going to do now, put the butter in here, and then I'm going to scrape out any bits of butter that I can get out from my container. There are lots of different ways to make butter. This seems to be, to me, the easiest and fastest. I mean, they've got devices to separate your cream from your butter. You know, they've got different types of butter churns, and they're expensive as crap. But if you already have a blender, why not just use it? So I don't really think it's much. I don't know. I haven't made butter with a true butter making machine, but looking at some of the YouTube videos, a lot of the equipment that it takes just seems like overkill to me. Now, I will say this though: if you were like making butter for a living, or like if you're a homesteader and you've got cows and you're milking your cows, yeah, sure, you know, maybe it might make sense to do that. So, all right, and I'm gonna find my fork here, scrape off this butter here, and then I'm gonna tap that sieve and try to get some of that whey out. And you're gonna see me, we're gonna get the rest of the whey out of here too, but I'm just gonna, there's a little bit of butter in there. You're not going to get it all. So there's your whey. Now a lot of people use whey for different things. One of the things I will do is I will look at the whey, and if it seems like there's some solids floating around that made it past, I'll just do that right there, and grab some more bits of butter. And then I also will take a smaller sieve. Let me grab my small sieve, which is this one right here. And there's, you know, that's a little bit of butter floating around there. Not a lot, but you might as well get it if you can. All right, that's about all we're going to get out of there. Okay, so now I'm going to continue to pour the whey off. So, all right, I wasn't supposed to do that. All right, now I'm going to take my spatula and just kind of run it down the side and just start pushing the butter bits, but you can see the whey forming right there. So again, I'm just going to turn it up, make sure the butter doesn't fall out, and pour that whey off. Now next, I'm kind of going to knead this around with the spatula. Notice that it just keeps coming out, right? And that's what you want to do. You want to roll your butter around, pour off the whey, and just keep doing that. And if you kind of flip it, start kind of roll it in, kind of get it working into a ball. The more you do it, the more whey you take out, the firmer the butter ball is going to get. And flipping it around like that helps the whey separate. Technically, you could probably just start watching it, but I like to see it firm up. Notice how now it's starting to look like a better blob of butter. I don't know if you're seeing this or not. Not really sure what the angle of the camera is. Okay, we're getting there. I would imagine that's probably about a half a stick of butter, wouldn't you think? You're just not going to get that much, but Dowie was saying he gets 7 gallons of raw milk at a time. If you get 7 times that, you're going to fill this, you know, bottom of this bowl up. That'd be good, a pretty good amount of butter. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she loved butter. One day, she was a toddler with diapers on, and she had my wife came in the kitchen, and she had the door open to the refrigerator. She was standing there with a stick of butter, and she was just eating it like an ice cream bar, the whole thing. She loved it. Okay, next we're going to wash the butter. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Whoops. I think that'll get the angle. So next up, I want to swap to my fork. By the way, with that whey, we're going to take a funnel. I'm going to do it. You can do whatever you want to. I'm going to take my funnel and pour that whey back into the jug of milk. Just shake it up real good, because I'm not going to use the whey generally. I mean, you can make other stuff with it. Some people feed it to their plants. Some people feed it to their animals. I guess you can cook with it. There's different things. I think you can make other stuff with it. I don't know. I just never pursued that issue. Okay. Now, all you gotta do is pour. This is filtered water through a Berkey water purifier, and you just pour in an amount of water. And notice how right off the bat it starts turning milky, and that's what it's going to do. So I'm just going to smash it around like I'm smashing a potato, mashing up a potato, and it's not going to hurt it. All it's doing it's helping further separate the whey that's trapped in that butter. Now, because this is diluted with water, I'm not going to pour this into that. I don't want to dilute my milk, and so I'm just going to pour it off, and you'll see that milky water coming off. And then I'm going to do it again. And you're going to do it until it doesn't get milky. It takes about 4 or 5 times doing this. So I have no clue what the angle is on this, but you're getting the idea. I'm going to move it over here and move it over there. You can see it. All right. Let's do it again. It's a little bit more clear. I'll probably do it one more time after this. The water is fairly clear. Nah, it's still a little milky, but much clearer. Okay. Once again, the reason you want to wash your butter is the whey affects the taste just a little bit. I'd rather have a lot clearer, purer butter, but it also makes it last longer. The whey will cause the butter to possibly go rancid or go bad quicker. I mean, you know, you can go for probably a week. If you go for much more than a week with raw butter, it's a good chance that it's going to start going off. That's why I freeze my butter. I'll show you that here in a minute. But just pour off the whey again. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Ha ha ha. Catch that. So alright, notice that it's still pretty clear now, so I think this is probably going to be my last time that I want to wash it. Did anybody count how many times I've put water in there? 4 or 5. To me, that's good enough right there. You can, it's got a hint of whipped milk in this, but that's pretty daggone good right there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap back to my spatula, because now I want to start kneading it and getting out the and I'll go back to my fork here in a minute when I salt it. But so now what I'm going to do is just go down the sides, push all that loose butter down. Now this particular bowl has kind of a flat spot on the bottom. I would kind of prefer a bigger, wider bottom stainless bowl so that it doesn't affect me kneading the butter with my spatula. See, it just keeps a little bit of whey keeps coming out. Yeah, my battery died on my camera, so I had to run and find a extension cord, a charger, hook it up. This thing is sitting up there on a tripod. So my butter's been sitting here probably about 15 or 20 minutes while I got enough charge to be able to start up the camera. So there's a little bit more whey it's going to come out of here. So I'm going to keep kneading my butter. It didn't hurt anything for it to sit there. It just allowed some of the whey to come out on its own. But agitating it definitely speeds up the process. And now you're just going to get drips and drabs from this point. So it's just a matter of how patient you are and how long you want to keep doing this. But you can see that that ball of butter is getting pretty firm. I was beating the butter there. Pop, pop, pop. Okay. Dally, I know is going to like that. He'll have something smart to say about beating my butter. Alright, I think that's going to do it. Let's see. Just trying to get it where you can, the camera angle can see it. Yep, nothing wants to come out, so I think we're good. So now I'm going to go back to my fork. Clean this spatula off as best I can. By the way, I don't know why you wouldn't want to salt your butter, because I just don't think, if unsalted butter, it just don't taste like anything to me. I guess butter is just a carrier for salt, huh? I guess it does have some flavor. Maybe I'm letting my taste buds get overwhelmed by salt, but I like salted butter. And I guess you could put other stuff in here. You can put garlic or whatever. Make yourself some garlic butter. You can experiment. Alright, so I'm done with that. I'm going to take that little bit right there. You know what's interesting? Is that when you put that white milk in the blender and then blend it for 4 or 5 minutes, it turns yellow. Explain that to me. So there's probably a CRT joke in there somewhere, but I won't go there. All right, let me get my salt. Now when you salt, be very careful. Just sprinkle a little bit at a time on it. And I look down at the bowl so I can see it falling. And then I'm gonna take my fork and just swirl it around and get that salt mixed in. You want it, you know, even around through there thoroughly. Can't just put it on the top and think you're done. There's a couple more drops away. And then I'm going to test that butter. Nope, needs more salt. That's pretty daggum close. I'm at a little bit more. Now I believe they make like a butter mold. You can put this in and form it into a traditional stick. Oh yeah, that's tasting good right there. So now I'm done. I'm gonna go back to my spatula and get all that butter off of the fork. And then I'm going to run that end of that spatula between the tines and get every little bit I can. Yeah, that's pretty clean. And now to get it off the spatula, and then I'm going to form it back into a ball. I'll scrape the sides. And then I want to pad that around and get it, try to get it back into a ball and smooth it out some. Again, it would work much better with a flat bowl, but all my other bowls are taken up with some project or something else. Okay. Now we're looking pretty good. So last step is how you're gonna store it. I store my butter in quart and pint mason jars and put it in the freezer. Let me show you. So this one's almost empty. Let me just grab one that's full. I got another one, another pint in there that's full. This is about halfway full. And so, but this is one I've been using. So here's how I use my butter. You freeze it, it lasts a lot longer. The problem is when you go to use it, I guarantee you can't get that butter out right now. You can try with a knife or a fork or something long, like a big butcher knife, and you'll try to break it up and you can just forget about it. But if I want to put butter on my broccoli or my Brussels sprouts, or I don't eat biscuits anymore, but if I did, I'm gonna just pop that jar just like that in the microwave and hit it for 1 minute. And then what's gonna happen is the outside of the jar is going to get warmer and it's going to start melting the butter around the outside, and then you'll check it in a minute and see if there's enough melted butter to pour off into your food. If not, hit it for another 30 seconds, and I doubt you have to go much more than a minute and a half, but you'll have plenty of melted butter. Pour it, use it, put it on your kitchen table. You know, you might have to put it in the microwave again for seconds, but once you're done using it, just put your lid back on, stick it in the freezer, and it refreezes, because the main portion of that butter never thaws out. It just melts the outside and you can use what you need. So I just find it's a real easy way to store my butter. So we're going to take that butter ball I'm just going to scrape it in two and get it to try to fall right in that hole. There we go. Another lump, and then I'm going to go in and scrape up as much as I can. And I'm going to scrape it and then pop it in there. All right, let's go one more time. A little bit left. Not much. This is like making a cake. That icing is always what you want to try to get at, every bit of it out, right? That's what you get to eat when your mom handed you the bowl, or your grandmother, your mama did. My mama she'd like to spoil me. When I was 4 or 5 years old, she would get a tub of Cool Whip with a spoon and let me go hide somewhere and just chow down on it. I miss her. All right, so I got a little bit more butter right there. All right. And then the last thing that I do before I put my lid on it is I'll take one of my kitchen rags. This is a Blue Huck towel that Tim Ferriss raved about in the 4-Hour Chef book. He said all the high-end chefs would get these. These are surgical towels that surgeons use. And the reason he liked them is that they're sewn all the way around. There's no lint, so it doesn't throw off any lint. And they're lightweight. And then chefs will fold them up, stick them in their back pocket, use them as a rag, cover a tray of rolls or where your meat comes out of off the grill, and cover it with. But what I'm gonna do is can't do it right there. I don't know if you can see this. I just take it. And now put my lid on. I'm gonna pop it back in the freezer, and we're done. We made butter. Buddy, I hope that helped you, brother. If you have any questions, you can holler at me, and I'll answer any question that you have. If you can think of a better method, or if you see a shortcut, or you see a way to do something, or say, Jake, there's a better tool, or I figured out a concept that works better than what you're doing. Oh yeah, I guess the last thing that we gotta do is we gotta put this is the original milk, and it says pet food, 100% whole milk. You know why they do pet food, right? This comes from a Mennonite family, just in case the authorities decide you can't serve that to human beings. That's not human being food, it's pet food. All right, let me find my funnel. Okay, so I'm gonna take my, all right, and we're going back, and now see, there is a little bit of solid that built up there. Ain't much you can do about that. That's just fat, it's cream. We're gonna put it right back in the bowl. I'm gonna take my spatula and knock those solids back into the liquid so it will go with it when I pour it. And now I don't know how much butter that was, but when you're done, let's take a look and see. Our milk level comes up to here. It was right up in the neck, so all of that turn into butter. Cream usually runs all the way about down to here, and it's hard to get that last ½ inch of cream without getting a lot of milk with it. So anyway, that's our butter making project. Put my milk back in the fridge and we're done.